Am I the jerk for terrorizing my brother by making him live in his own filth? Posted by you/throw RA handshot first. My brothers are all pigs. We had a very traditional house where girls cleaned and washed dishes from the time we were old enough to walk and stand on chairs, and my brothers never did anything. As adults, they can't even turn a washer on. I deeply resent how I felt like I had to raise my own father, and how holidays and weekends were always spent with my brothers and dad lying around while we cleaned. Even on Christmas, they got to play with their toys while we went into the kitchen. I do not care about excuses like I was never taught, etc. We are all adults now, and they can YouTube and Google whatever they don't know. I learned how to patch walls, change tires, change oil, etc., all the gendered stuff I was never taught. So I do not see why he can't as well. My brother got kicked out by his girlfriend after they had their first kid because he doesn't help with anything. Since staying with me, I have forced him to do stuff. When he first moved in, my house went from my tidy, clean utopia to a disgusting mess. He would spit sunflower seeds on the floor, hide his food in dirty dishes around the house, spit chewed gum behind the coffee machine just feet from the trash can, hide snack food everywhere, smoke on the toilet, and put cigarettes out on my floor, which is a slap in the face since I asked him not to smoke inside because I don't smoke, leave his dirty clothes everywhere, including on the living room floor, and more. Even when he ordered food for himself, he would eat at the table and then leave everything for me to clean up. Anytime he took anything out of the fridge, he would leave it on the table and often left the fridge open. I'm not joking, I found maggots 3 times from his mess. I lost it and told him to either totally change his behavior or get out. Well, he started doing things, but as badly as he could. He would put bowls in the dishwasher so they would fill with nasty water, mop with the same water for days, leaving the place smelling of rot, do his laundry by putting it in the washer and leaving it for me to finish, put food away by tossing it all over the fridge and spilling it everywhere. The best was when he put the syrup away upside down on the top shelf with no lid, coating my entire fridge in syrup that took hours to clean. Then he would say, "I am trying, you're just being a beach." I lost my temper, and I know I couldn't leave him on the street, so I divided the house. The cabinet doors all have locks from the previous owners, so I got him dishes from Goodwill and forbade him from using any of mine. Now he's eating off his filthy dishes. I made it very clear that anything left on the floors, clothing, etc., gets a 1-day grace period before being thrown away. Same with a few dishes he has, as he would leave them in the sink until they started to grow mold. I started locking my bathroom door, and he has to use the one in the basement, which I refuse to clean. If his clothes are in the washer for more than 8 hours and I need to use it, I dump them wet on his bed. Any trash he leaves lying around goes on his bed. If he orders food and gets up and leaves his leftovers, I leave them to rot, then throw them away, though twice the idiot has left food out overnight and came out and started angry eating it while glaring at me. Both times, the idiot got food poisoning. He destroyed my fridge again by putting juice in upside down with the lid barely on, once again ruining my food, so I mopped it up with towels and dumped the towels and all my ruined food on his bed, then put a lock on the fridge. He hates me and says I am terrorizing him. I say I was forced to mother him as a child but was never given the parental control to actually teach him how life works. And since my brothers used my childhood to treat me like a maid, I will no longer parent them. My view is, some lessons have to be learned painfully. I will not gentle parent a grown man who cannot close a fridge door. /relevant comments. Commenter. Get him out. Why is he even living with you? Commenter 2. She was conditioned as a young child to accept crappy behavior from men. Even putting in this boundary is likely a big step for her. Of course, I hope she takes from this thread that he's a parent and she doesn't need to accept this behavior, though I get why she may not think she can just kick him out, even though she can, and she should. Ops response. This is 100% it. In my church, if you complained about men not cleaning, people would think you were insane. I posted this 10,000% thinking I was going to get roasted for being a beach. Commenter 3. Your childhood church sounds like one of those culty outfits that has youth leaders sleeping with underage teens and pastors grooming young girls. Thoroughly gross. Ops response. Our church is #1 for those scandals recently. I was groomed by our youth leader. It was fairly standard for the elders to go on a mission, then marry a barely legal teenage girl when they were in their late 20s to 30s. It is rampant. Commenter 4. Your parents are real jerks. It's one thing to teach girls to cook and not boys, but putting cigarettes out on the floor inside the house and hiding chewed gum in your own home is bizarre. Were you, as a girl, expected to scrub their backs in the shower and wipe their bums too? How did your brother not learn basic decency or home hygiene? It really sounds like he is terrorizing you. For holidays and birthdays, you should get your brother books on how to maintain a home, clothes, hygiene, and so on. When he complains, invite him to leave, and give your brother a get-out date. Ops response: You are not going to believe this, but one time I did 100% get grounded because my brother got cysts on his bum from not cleaning, and my mom said I needed to set a better example for him. That is 100% true and totally sounds like an insane lie. Op on her brother's employment. I am 30, and he is 33. This is my house. He isn't paying anything because he lost his job during COVID and says he cannot find work. I was letting that go because I make really good money and didn't need any of it from him, but he needs to contribute something, and he is not. I think I will figure out a timeline and tell him he has to do better or go. I'm sure he can find some other woman to raise him. That's his usual move when his girlfriend puts him out. Why she puts up with it, I don't know, but I can't say anything because I do too. Update same day. I could not believe my eyes when I opened Reddit and saw the number of notifications. Wow. So, just to update everyone, things came to a head today. I had to work the early shift and had a session with my table tonight at 6. I'm DMing a few D&D games. I begged my brother to keep the living room clean. I came home, and the house was more than trashed. I mean, it looked like a bomb went off. He even dropped a cup of milk on the floor and left it. I flung the whole milk jug at his head and screamed at him to GTFO. He tried to bulk up to me, and I lost it, screaming get out over and over, and I guess he saw how unhinged I was because he stormed out. I cleaned up the milk, then jumped online to message everyone to cancel and saw the 700+ notifications. You all gave some really solid advice, and I knew reading the replies last night that this was over. I was gonna give him a few weeks, but seeing that milk all across my new floor was the last straw. I don't know where he is going, and I don't care. Thank you all. Second update 4 days later. Hello everyone. I considered leaving the situation with my brother at the original post, but this post has blown up and is being covered outside of Reddit, so I figured I should tell you all what has happened. To start, I know a lot of people seemed incredibly perplexed that I even allowed this. To this, all I can really say is that I grew up in a very toxic environment. They are Mormons, and not the modern kind. When I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to wear pants. In my childhood, if you asked a man to clean, you'd be looked at like you were insane, and if you got mad at a man for being messy, it would even be implied that you could possibly be corrupted spiritually for attacking the original design. Obviously, after I left the church, I understood that things are different, but I am not as healed as I thought. I obviously need a lot more therapy. I also got a few posts asking why I didn't include that I'm autistic in my post. This is just because it is not relevant. The actual update: my brother is MIA. For anyone who missed it, the day after that post I came home to a trashed house and a glass of milk spilled on the floor that had obviously been there for a while. I lost it and lugged the milk jug at his head, thankfully missing, and screamed at him over and over to get out. He tried to square up to me, but I screamed so loud it was hard to talk the next day. I think he got the hint then and took off, almost ripped my door in two doing it. I had to replace a hinge. I know some people wanted me to sue him, but during this whole situation, I was confronted with a health scare, just some weird-looking moles, but I am still worried, so I do not want to deal with that. He left, get this, and went to the house of his 19-year-old girlfriend. Apparently, he met this girl when she went to the bar for her 18th. I had no idea this was going on, but all my brothers did. To recap, he had a baby with his girlfriend of 8 years this month. I told them all to F off. When Mom messaged me crying because no one knows where your brother is, he just left with some girl, I told her I do not care. I did, call me crazy, messaged the girl to tell her he is bad news, but she called me a crazy CNT and blocked me. I also messaged the girl's mom, who seems worried but basically said she cannot do anything because her daughter is legal. I guess they took off and skipped town and will not tell anyone where they are. Outside of worry for this girl, I do not care. I'm too busy chilling with his ex and my wonderful niece. I'm going to take care of my health and focus on my life. Top/relevant comments. Commenter: I hope your 2 posts are real, that you have actually taken those actions against your brother, and that you will never allow anybody else to walk all over you. Kudos to you and your new backbone. Ops response: I actually wish more and more that I had been taking pictures so I could prove I'm not lying because it's so unreal. After reading all the comments, I kind of woke up, and now it's like, girl, WTF were you doing? Commenter 2: This is horribly sad for Op, the 19-year-old, and the girlfriend with a baby. This entitled manchild just does whatever he wants, and Op gets blamed for it. I hope she never lets him back into her house and goes no contact. Commenter 3: It's actually good that the brother escaped to the 19-year-old now and not after having dated her for years. She's likely not as religiously indoctrinated as Op is, considering they met at a bar when she was 18 and mom was not dragging her back by the ear. Bro is incapable of living decently, so this 19-year-old will very soon realize what her life will be like with him and will kick him to the curb. This will minimize the time she has to spend with him to realize what sort of horrible human-shaped slime he is. Commenter 4. I don't know, but I hope you're right. Mormonism is highly indicative that this is the US, probably Utah, but it could be somewhere nearby. Mormons are against any mind-altering substances, and very strongly against alcohol, so a man from a strongly conservative sect being at a bar at all is sketchy as hell. The 19-year-old is likely a vulnerable person in at least some capacity, already a victim of abuse would be my guess. People suck. It could be a while before she hits a breaking point.